Okay, so today I'm gonna make what Rich calls meat pies. I'm gonna call it an empanada because that just sounds way better than meat pie. Anyway, so the first thing I have to do this is make the dough. So I have 4 cups of flour and a stick and a half of butter, 12 tablespoons. And I'm gonna put this all in the food processor. The butter's cold. I need to keep everything cold. So we don't want the butter to melt. We want it to remain in little bits and pieces so when it bakes, that's where the little pockets form and that's where you get the flakiness for the crust. So we're going to pulse this until we get something kind of like wet sand, you could say. Just gonna kind of chop up the butter and make sure it's mixed around good with the flour. Yeah, if you look at that, the little chunks of flour. Okay, that's perfect. So we're gonna take this and put it in a bowl. And check for any bigger pieces. I still have a few I'm gonna kind of squish up. Because you can do all of it like this if you don't have a food processor. You can just kind of break the butter up with your hands, just scooping it in all the flour. Feels like I got everything. Okay, so I have this is a half a cup of water, cold, and a half a cup of cold vodka. What the vodka does is keeps it from forming gluten, so the dough won't be tough and it won't get tough, and it won't be like pizza dough where it's, you know, like springy and stretchy and all of that stuff. We don't want that. We're looking for more of a pie dough. Alright, so this is finally starting to sort of come together here. I'm going to put it out on here so I can work it out better. It's just easier. So you can see it's starting to form. There's just barely enough water to keep it together, which is what I want. Okay, now I'm gonna split it in half. That looks about like half of it. And then this half into 6 pieces. There. And I'm going to do the same with the other half. And when I get this done, I'm going to wrap these in plastic wrap and put them in the refrigerator. They're going to need about an hour. It's going to continue to hydrate the dough and the flour, and so it'll be a lot more cohesive and it'll be easier to roll out. So now it's the next day. I I let those sit in the refrigerator overnight, and I have rolled one out to 6 inches, a little over 6 inches. Notice it's got the ragged edges on it and stuff, which is fine. I'm going to trim that off. So, now we fill. I have some ricotta cheese. And I'm going to season up the ricotta cheese here as well. I want to leave enough room for the to fold it and crimp it, so I'm leaving a little bit around the edges for that. And so a little salt, because the ricotta really doesn't have any season of any kind on it, and so the other stuff I'm going to put on there isn't enough to overtake that or to compensate for that. So I got some salt, some pepper, and some garlic powder, and then just leave it on there. I'm going to put a little Italian sausage in here. Kind of stick it down to the cheese. Then I got some mozzarella. I'm going to put a little slice of mozzarella in here.
That's pretty thick.
That's a big thick.
Yeah, that's pretty thick.
That's alright, as long as I can get it wrapped up, it'll be good. And some pepperonis. We'll do like 4 pepperonis, maybe 5. Alright, now let's see if we got too much stuff in there or not. So, I got some water here. Just gonna put some water around the edge of this.
Help seal it tight.
Yep, so everything will seal.
Or an egg wash. Couldn't you use an egg wash?
Yeah, I could, but this is easier and works just as good, actually. Okay, so let's see if we have enough room here. We're going to fold this over. Tuck everything in. Smash it down. I just barely had room for everything here. It looks like I got it though.
Yeah.
Alright, so then I'm going to take...
a little bit more right there.
Well, I'm not done yet. I'm going to take this fork and crimp everything down real well to seal it. And then I can trim off the excess. And I can even use this to patch the hole up with. It looks like I have a little bit there. Anywhere else? Nope, that looks good.
Down a little bit more.
Alright, so I've got quite a few more of these to do. So I'm going to finish these and then we can put them in the oven. I'll show you how all that's going to work. I made 4 of them. I'm going to leave the other ones until we actually want to eat them. So you can freeze these after you make them and before you bake them. And then you can, hang on. You can take them directly out of the freezer and bake them. I just want to make sure I have a little venting holes here. So what I'm going to do is I have some peanut oil here. I'm going to brush the top of them with the peanut oil. and I have a pan in the oven that's been actually preheating with the oven itself. So it's in there, it's screaming hot, which is what we want. Because I'm going to touch more here for this last one. Alright, so now I have this pan in the oven. It's at 425, and I've had it heating up for about 30 minutes in the oven, so it's screaming hot. I'm going to take, and I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of peanut oil just directly on the pan, which it's going to heat up really, really quick because we preheated the pan. So get this spread around real quick. And now we just put these directly onto this pan. Kind of trying to get some of the flour off the bottom. I put some in there so it wouldn't stick. Alright. So, these go in the oven now for 20 minutes. And this is something you can do instead of actually trying to fry them and use a big pan of oil and stuff to fry them. Actually, I think this works just as good, and well, you'll see how they come out when they come out of the oven in 20 minutes. So now we're going to do the big reveal here. They've been in the oven for 20 minutes. And they're looking pretty good. I got a little cheese oozing out of that one. I'm going to put them on here because there was some oil, in the,
Careful. Ooey gooey.
on the pan. So we just kind of want to. They're a little slippery.
And hot.
It seems. So these need to cool for at least 20 minutes or so before we can try them, but because they are so screaming hot. But we do want to cut one open and see what they look like.
Flakiness.
Yes. As you can see, the dough, the crust, it came out really flaky, and we have some gooey cheese in there now and everything.
Yes.
And so like I said though, these are screaming hot, so we're going to have to wait about 20 minutes to eat them. So you should make these too and enjoy.